Hi everybody, welcome to the Rambling Toffee podcast. I am Mark. I hope everybody's doing well this Monday. Another week. You just feel where the weekends go at this rate. Welcome to the this episode. I'll be discussing today the Fulham game. Since last Monday, obviously, I didn't not done my review of the Fulham game and also the Tottenham game, obviously from Saturday. Um, and obviously anything in between or anything else that comes to my mind as we go through this podcast. So, hope everybody's doing well. So, yes, let's start off with the Fulham game. Obviously, with all the injuries that we've had, like with Decore, Anana, and injuries obviously Patterson is not being given it. I think since the game, I think it was against Luton where he was quite disappointing in his performance. We didn't have Seamus Coleman. Ashley Young was coming back, I think, but it was decided that for the Fulham game, Ben Godfrey came in into that position. Obviously, it's not his preferred position, as we all know, but he came in to take that position, and Patterson was on the bench. Yes, I can understand the decision regarding that. I just feel that at the moment, Patterson, I don't know if it's his confidence or whatever, inexperience, but I just felt against Luton he was just a little bit all over the place, and I mean they were just getting down that wing, and he was just out of position quite frequently. So in that instance, Ben Godfrey came in. The last game obviously against Burnley he played well, and it looks like he's sitting patiently. Transfer window. He hasn't moved on, obviously, so he's still at the club. And I think we need all the players that we can have at this moment in time, especially with all the injuries and not having that money, obviously, or any kind of money to reinforce and bring anybody else, additional players coming in. Obviously, so yes, it was the right decision for him to make that call for him to come in, stake his claim basically to get some game time. So yes, other than that, of course, Danjuma started as well. He given it another opportunity to actually go out there and put a performance in. So he's given the opportunity. Of course, with Nana missing, we're still missing Idrissa Gana Gueye. So it was like a decision was made to put Ashley Young in on the wing, but I think Jack Harrison was playing more centrally. Dwight McNeil playing on the left side, and Ashley Young taking on the right side. Um, so yes, and then of course with James Garner in the middle, taking those positions. So it was just thrown together players that we have and just basically go for it. And of course with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, starting as per usual as he has been doing recently. So yes, but everybody was a bit worried and thinking, oh god, we have to put this team together. How are we going to get results? We need results. We need to get points. We need to keep on going. Keep on and actually, in all honesty, I thought our counter attacking was really, really good in the game. I felt we had opportunities to win the game, obviously. Um, of course, the good old VAR coming into the equation again, and good old, decision making by the referees, as per usual, as regard, the decision to not give a penalty when the opportunity came and hit the bar, bounced down on the line. Obviously, it wasn't given as a goal from there, obviously, because it didn't cross the line fully, and then hit their defender on the hand. His hand was right out wide and should have been a penalty. And it's just been every week, as every podcast I've talked about, every week it seems to be VAR as per usual seem to be making decisions that you know we can see on the field watching it live, and you can see it on the TV that basically it was a penalty. And the fact is that the excuse at the beginning of it was his arms were like that raised downwards and not out wide, and which was a bit baffling. And then you got the other story that he didn't, wasn't expecting it. But in reality, when that ball bounced, he was looking up when that ball hit the crossbar, so he knew that what was going to happen when that ball was going to bounce down. He put his arm out. So anyway, that's digress on that one. As per usual, we all moaned about it. We all said it was a penalty. I think on social media, even Paddy Powers basically was saying, that's definitely a penalty, so don't give them to Everton and anything like that. We haven't had a penalty this season, so for me it was just like never ending, and it's just I'm getting tiresome of it, and it's just like I'm getting fed up. It seems to be the PGM MOL are doing nothing about it, and they just continue doing nothing about any of these decisions, and they seem to be going against clubs like Everton, Wolves again, in their game against Manchester United. So yeah, so there was an opportunity there to have a penalty to score. We deserved. We played well. They played well. It was a good end-to-end game of football. It was an entertaining game of football. But it was positive in one sense of mind that we were playing well and a lot better than we have been, especially against Luton Town, where we were disappointing in that game. But it was an okay performance with the players that we have at our disposal at this moment in time. Dan Juma was okay. He was getting there until he got injured, obviously late on. But we had got Lewis Dobbin came on, did really well. Um, but we had chances right at the end, obviously at the end of the game, which Beto should have scored. It was on his head. He should have put that in the back of the net. How close it was. It was one of those miss of the season scenario where he should have buried it basically. And then there was that other scramble from the corner right at the end of the game where Godfrey miskicked and then Beto tried to hit it and then everything else it just didn't go in. And it was just like, look at it, we had an opportunity to take 3 points there. And as performance wise, defensively, really really good defensive performance. Pickford made that absolutely fantastic save. Top draw. I mean, that was 8 clean sheets this season for him, and he's doing better than anybody else. But he doesn't get the plaudits, obviously, from the national media, and nationally, he just seem to find something to have a go at regarding Jordan Pickford. But but that's just the way things are at this moment in time. It's just that we don't get any kind of plaudits for anything that we do right or do well at. Only if you're a local journalist or local media, or you've seen it as a fan. Godfrey played well, I thought, coming into that position. He's not played for a while. He made a great challenge, great interception when they were going forward. It looks like it was just to be a simple goal that was going to take place, and he came in and did his thing, and he was able to clear it. And it was a good performance from his part, and he deserved to actually start in the Tottenham game. So, but it was good. We come away with a point. We didn't concede again. We were hard to beat as usual. And it was getting back to basics again because obviously we tried to play 4-4-2 in the Luton game, which obviously didn't work. Obviously, injuries, were a key on that situation, or why it was obviously tried to go 4-4-2, but it didn't work, and we move on. We reverted back to what we've been playing all season. Yeah, so let's say at that point, that's what we needed. We do need the points at this moment in time, but it's the start. It's better than to getting nothing at the moment, and especially with the amount of injuries that we currently have. So yes, so that was the Fulham game. We then obviously Tottenham on Saturday. It was going to be a difficult game as per it's Tottenham. They are a good team. They've got some good players. We all know about Richarlison. We know what to expect from him. But the team itself, it reverted back to our usual formation and tactics. It was great to see Idrissa Gana Gueye back in. He take the position. Obviously, Onana's still injured. Obviously, Decore is still injured. Obviously, he's on the grass at the moment. Hopefully, as we come up to the City game, he may be available. He may not. I don't know. We'll find out in the press conference near to the game on Saturday for that one. But they were 2 players in our midfield that were out injured. So it went with Idrissa Gana Gueye. He went with James Garner in centrally, and I think he put Jack Harrison, who played the Decore role behind Dominic Calvert-Lewin, and Dwight McNeil and Ashley Young still stuck to his role in the midfield on the right hand side, and Dwight McNeil took the left hand side and continued with Ben Godfrey, and everything other than that was the same as it has been for most of the season. So So yes, it was from my perspective, it was a good start in the first half. We had opportunities in the game, throughout that first half, but of course, quite early on, one moment, I think for Tottenham in that first half, I think they didn't create that much opportunities. They got a couple of opportunities. The first one, of course, 3 minutes in, and Richarlison scored. You know, just typical, just break on the break, one opportunity, bang, he was in. And it was like, here we go again. But we kept on going, we kept on plucking away, and I thought the passing was a bit better. It was a lot more movement. We weren't giving it away as much. I felt Adriss just came in and was absolutely fantastic. Just nipping the ball off everybody and getting us moving forward a bit more. Jack Harrison, I felt again, because he's been put in that central behind Dominic Calvert, was more busier, got the ball more, and was probing a little bit more, and he was a little bit more freedom in that position. And we saw the difference in that. So that was a positive. I felt Dwight McNeil's performance was a little bit off on Saturday. He wasn't at the races to an extent. A lot of his crosses were either going a little bit too far wide, and not hitting the targets that we tend to see with him in games, especially in that first half. He's running around trying to do things. He was just giving the ball away. It was just one of those games for him. I don't know. It was just one of those games for him. But when he's at his best, we see what he is capable of. But yeah, going forward, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin was just getting about. He was bustling. He was pressing. He was doing everything he possibly can to do his job. And we got the equaliser, and it would have been great if he had got it, finally scored. But obviously it's been given to Jack Harrison. But 1-1. We thought we're doing well. We're getting forward. We're creating again. I think the XG is about 2.2 or something, to what Tottenham was about 0.9 or some whatever. So we were really, really good at creating, getting in the opportunities. But again, it's having, them opportunities and putting them in the back of the net. And as it has been all season, we can create and create and create. We've just not been able to put them in the back of the net. And of course, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, I think, with the injury and getting back into his fitness, obviously he's back to his best with regard to his fitness, but he's not scoring goals. I don't know how many now. Is it 16 games or something like that? He's not scored, and you just hope that goal, when it hope it would be credited to him, it might have given him an even bigger boost, to score, and finally we can get him moving again. But he had a good performance. He played really, really well. He run the lines. He did everything what a striker would do, but not just he just couldn't put the ball in the back of the net. And sadly, that one opportunity that we all thought he did score, it was stroked off and given to Jack Harrison. So you go with it anyway. So we were doing well, and of course they just broke. And then again, it was a fantastic finish by Richarlison again. Great finish, and it was like, oh, here we go again. It was just like we do all that work and all that effort with a team that's just been made up and moved around, and you just thought, are we going to get any kind of rubber to green, any kind of look, any kind of for the opportunities that we have created? Are we going to get these opportunities? Are they going to go in the back of the net? And as much as you can keep on creating, at the end of the day, we need to win football matches, and it just feels like we're not getting the opportunities. We're not. It's just not falling in the right place, or we get the opportunity and we just make the wrong decision. And you saw that throughout. There's players that got the ball and you think that good position to shoot, and then they go and try and pass it or try to do something different. And it's like they're a bit fearful of being confident enough to go, right, I'm going to go for it. And that's probably what is currently happening at the moment, is that we're getting in the opportunities and getting into the places, but it's confidence and then just the wrong cause and the wrong decision. And it's just been like that all season. And when it does work, we've seen it as well this season, that we score 2-3 goals. We can score and score lots and lots of goals, but it's just not. It's a confidence thing. but it doesn't help with injuries and everything else. But anyway, the first half we're 2-1 down. It's like all that work, and I just generally thought, hopefully come out in the second half, we can put the effort in again, do the same things, and hopefully we'll get back into the game. And it was but we came into the second half and we started off okay, and then all of a sudden it seems to be Tottenham have changed things for themselves, or they upped their game a bit more, and they were having the ball a little bit more the possession, getting forward a bit more, creating one or two opportunities and everything else. So it seems we will be pushing back on it. But then we started to play our game again, and we started to try and probe again. We started trying to get forward, and it just felt that we just we need to change it. And I just noticed, I think like everybody else, at the moment, the manager, he makes substitutions quite late. It seems to be, and it was getting to I think 78 minutes or something like that. And I was thinking, are we making these changes? Because I know it's a criticism, and I know a friend of mine who I go to the game with, he said, we haven't got the players on the pit on the bench who can come and effectively change things. And we have to play with the team that we currently have, but also you have to give them chances, because if you look what he did, he made the call and bring Lewis Dobbin on. He brought Jimmy on. And Beto came on a little bit later on, but the two of them came on, and it was that vibrancy of the pace of Lewis Dobbin. You just got the ball and you just ran at Tottenham, and he got a crossing to Jimmy. Jimmy had the opportunity. If he was a little bit more confident, he could have controlled it and put it in the net, but it was that instinctive moment to try and just put his foot on it, and it just went into the goalkeeper's hands. Quite a simple save for him in the end. But they came on and they started to move around. They started to make a kind of impact, and we started to move the ball forward. We started to get more corners, and we started to get ourselves into positions. And obviously, the goalkeeper for Tottenham is a weakness on corners and free kicks and everything like that, and set pieces. So we had to, let's get them in the box. And we just kept on pushing and pushing and pushing, and Beto came on obviously, and he was bustling about everything else, just causing just mischief. Yes, we still need to see the best of him. We need to do his job as a striker, which is scoring goals. But he go on the field and just was messing, getting at the centre backs, getting at the back, trying to cause as much mayhem as he possibly could. And then of course, we had 7 minutes of injury time. I think it was James Garner with a free kick, went right in, flicked on by Ramos, I think it was, and of course Braithwaite was right in the, got the ball in the net, equalised, and well deserved a point, but we could have even had 3 points. But to get that in the end, the atmosphere in the stadium was fantastic. I'll come on to that in a bit. The fact that the atmosphere in the stadium, it was fantastic, and it didn't help by the way the referee was officiating the game. Oliver was, he's a terrible referee, and the decisions he was making late on, decisions throughout the game, it was like he was trying everything he possibly can to not give us goals. I mean, the VAR check on the first goal, I think there was a VAR check, and I think obviously it cleared. I think it was something to do with the goalkeeper, might have been pushed, but it was given. And then that one, it was about, was it 3-4 minutes? Just kept waiting and waiting to see if it was actually given. And, it's just dragged it on. And it was like the VAR, not just with him, but the VAR officials, it was like, it felt like they were trying everything they possibly can not to give a goal. And I don't know, maybe I'm being a conspiracy theorist, maybe I'm being a little bit over the top there, but it feels like it's every week. We talked about Wolves and everything else regarding them, and them decisions that have been made against them. It just feels like they're trying everything they possibly can to not give us the decisions that we want. And as I said about the penalty calls, we've just had plenty of opportunities this season and last season where Decisions have gone against us. We should have had penalties. We should have had, opportunities in games and just not being given. And you look at them and they're not given. And you look at them, you think they're penalties. Well, why are they not being given? But he was poor. He was just giving out bookings. He didn't book any of the Tottenham players. Tottenham players were feigning injury, Maddison being one of them, and they were just like, trying to delay the game. They were doing everything they possibly can. But it seems to be Everton players were getting booked, and they were, it seems to be he was looking away at certain decisions. That is what was going on the field, and you're just like, if I look that way and I don't see it, I don't know. It was another poor refereeing display. You can understand the anger that we felt at the end of the game. That typically is another referee trying with the VAR officials to try and screw us out of getting a point or even 3 points. And as I mentioned about the Fulham game, it's just it's one moment. You see, if we got these decisions like penalty decisions or anything like that, we would have been further up the table. Even with the point deduction, we would have been safely away from the relegation places. But it just continues on, and something needs to be done about it. But it just feels like nothing is being done about it, and it feels like I know the fans forum sent a letter to the PGMO. Well, I forgot what his name is now. Who runs the refereeing association? He needs, to ask the questions about all these incidences that we have had, but nothing. But it's not come back. I've not heard anything, what they've come back regarding any of those issues and why those decisions were made. But since then, we're still getting, the calls going against us all the time. Anyway, so yeah, it was 2-2 draw, a good point, but it could have been more. It was better performance as well. you know, with the players that we currently have, and we take the positives from it. I have to be positive because there's a load of bloody negative everywhere else, but it's trying to be positive with what we got. We got a thin squad, obviously, and they went out there and they battled, and they did it against Fulham as well. They've gone out there with the cards that has been dealt by the manager and by the team itself, and he's just gone out there and put a performance in. Tottenham have got way, way, way better players than we have, and Fulham have as well. If you look at the players that they have, currently, and they've got everything set up and perfectly for them. They've got strong, bigger squads. They can make more changes than we can, and so on and so forth. But we take the positive. We take week in, week out. Take these performances. I know the points are better than nothing, and we move forward. And hopefully, we'll start seeing players coming back like Siddecore and Arna, and we'll start seeing like Seamus Coleman was back obviously in the game, and he was monumental in the equalising goal in the second one where he was with Ramos and basically was really going at him after when we actually equalised. He was like absolutely really going at Ramos, and it was fantastic to see. You see that passion, and it's great to see him back in the team. Doesn't care how old he is. In that sense, he can still do a job. He can still get on the field and still do a job that say a 20-year-old can still do, and it's great. Long may it continue for him, but it's great to see him back in the team and proper captain. So yeah, that was those two games. We got City in the next game. It's going to be a very very tough game. They are, well. We all know how good the team they are, and they're going for challenging for win the title again as per usual. So it'll be a difficult game, but all we can do is just set up the best we can. Hopefully, we've got some players coming back, and we can just set up and see where it goes. That's all we can do, and hopefully we can come away with something. But we'll have to see on Saturday. So I'll give everybody a review on that next Monday. Hopefully, it'll be positive. If it's not the result we want, but if it's a good performance, then I'll take that any time. But yeah, so we'll see how that pans out. But yeah, just a few things about Saturday that the protest obviously continued. fantastic support as ever from everybody, from all the fans, in the stadium with the placards. I just want to thank again, the 1878 group, and all the volunteers who handed out the cards before the game. It was fantastic to see that support again. We keep on pushing this protest, keep on making the points that we need to. That we deserve those 10 points back. It's been, as it says, the Premier League, they don't know what they're doing, and it's absolutely true. And hopefully, the appeal that took place last week, the hearing took place, and now we just wait to find out if will we get we are successful in that appeal. I know the KC, he was actually a lot of people super silk, I'm going to call him. He was at the game on Saturday. Hopefully he's done his bit and he's done everything he can to actually get the mitigation factors into the hearing, and hopefully I would love, and I'll be absolutely optimistic, I'm trying to be positive, that we'll get all our points back, because of if the mitigation circumstances that have got us into the position that we are is taken on board and is actually accepted, that's what's happened, that means that £19 million that we've overspent on will be wiped out, meaning that it won't be there. So that means we will not have the points deducted, and we should have them back. I hope. Please be honest. I'm hopeful of anything, but we'll see. And hopefully, if that's the case, hopefully the second charge will get thrown out as well, meaning that we'll be a little bit further up the table. We can all take a deep breath a bit more, and then we can just focus on getting, moving forward in any way we possibly can, get to the end of the season. The only thing that, of course, is out there is the takeover, and we may hear something more after that appeal, as when it's been confirmed what's actually happening. It's a bit of a strange one why the takeover can't happen before we find out what's happening in the appeal process. It's a bit of a strange one. Of course, they still have all sorts of problems going on. 777 Partners maybe putting money in as per usual and trying to keep the club going month to month, which is great in one sense, but they've got a lot of problems with other businesses that they are part of and everything else that's going on. So there's a lot of concern there. But yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. But it's let's be positive and be optimistic. Hopefully, that we will move. We will get those points back in some form. I just hope it's all of them. It would be absolutely fantastic if it was. And then it'll call out basically what the Premier League are, if that was the case, because it will then tell us, that the Premier League are corrupt. The Premier League were doing, basically charging us just so they can, to stave off an independent regulator. It's not looking like that way now, because we're starting to see, with the DTMS writing to them, asking questions regarding, why the point deduction was, why was it that severe, and everything else that we should find out. We'll find out what they what it'd be interesting what Masters would will he have to resign. I think he needs to resign, because I think he's just terrible. He's a terrible CEO. It's the chair lady. She needs to go as well, because they're making decisions to try and destroy a football club. And I know I've said in the past that the Premier League, I mean, the owner of Everton Football Club and the previous board, they've also, caused the problems that we've had over the many years with everything, everything that's happening off the field in that form. And, they've caused it, but the Premier League have not, they are, instead of helping Everton Football Club to grow and to be better off the field, we've got a new stadium that's being built, as obviously that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to be better off the field. We're trying to, with a new stadium, that means more money coming in. It means sponsors and anybody else wants to, be part of that when it happens, because Euro 2028, there's going to be games taking place there as well for the Euros. So it's all that, there's a positive thing in the horizon going forward, but it's just not being. It's just being looked at, and thinking, well, we don't care. We don't care if your club goes into administration. It feels like they don't care. And as much as, yeah, for a period of time they tried to help the club to make sure they were compliant, but, we sell our best players and we still get a 10-point deduction. And they changed the rules halfway through the process, and these are all wrong things. Why making those decisions? What prompted them to change that decision? Why did they do that? And I've talked about in this podcast many, many times. So it for me, that if we come away from this with the appeal, and being successful, I feel that the likes of Masters and is Alison Britton, the chair lady, and whoever else, they need to really, really look at their, look at themselves and actually look. Are they right to actually run the Premier League going forward? You need competent people there, not just dealing with the competition side of it. If they're still dealing with the financial side of it and PSRs and all the other things like that, regulations and everything else that they want to do, you need better people, competent people, and you also need to be working with the independent regulator to make not just the 6 clubs that there are who seem to be getting all the decisions when on the field at the moment, and off the field they seem to be getting all the money. It seems to be they are the where the focus is at, and the other 14 clubs basically we can't, we have to sell players so we can buy players to try and keep in without breaching the rules. I know it's changing, but that shouldn't be the case. It should be balanced. The competition should be balanced. All teams should have the opportunity to challenge and to bring the best players into their team and to actually want to progress and want their team to actually get into Europe, a Luton Town or any team of that nature. It doesn't matter if the stadium's small or they just come from Championship. They should be allowed to, if they have the money, to be able to actually, if they do it right, they should be allowed to actually put that money in to buy the players that they want to try and compete, not just in the league but also in the cup competitions. It, is we will always say, oh, is it worth Luton getting a European spot? 99% of of football clubs or football fans will probably say they're too small. They're a small club because they won't ever get Europe. They will never win the FA Cup. They'll never ever win any kind of trophy, and that's wrong in some sense. I just feel that every team when the season starts should fans alike should have that confidence and think maybe we could do quite well this season. Maybe with the players that we bought, we can do quite well. We can compete, can be competitive against the so-called big clubs. But in reality, we're all big clubs when you're in the Premier League, and it should be treated like that. Not Masters, who comes out and says that Everton and Nottingham Forest or all the other clubs are all small clubs because he's referring to the other 6 clubs as the big clubs and everybody else are all small. And that just gives an attitude from the Premier League and from Masters' point of view that you're a small club, you stay as a small club, you go beyond your means. You don't go beyond your means. You don't go and spend hundreds of millions, millions and millions of pounds on players to try and compete. No, you stay where you are. You stay in your place. Leave it to these other the big clubs. They know where they, you know, that's where we want it to be, and it shouldn't be like that. And anyway, I can ramble on and on and on. But yeah, just before I go, I just want to say also for TNT, I didn't mention this. I should have mentioned it earlier on. Great coverage from them. Not like Sky Sports, who tried to hide all the story, about the points deduction, about the protests, about what we're doing or why we're doing it. Everything else, they were fantastic. They allowed the placards, they talked about, they allowed the cars when we put them behind them. They interviewed Ben Winstanley from the Bulls View on the pitch before the game, so they got the fans' perspective as well. So it was really, really good coverage, which it needs to happen more so. And it's just a shame that we have Sky Sports, which has been in bed with the Premier League since 92, 93 when it first inception. That it seems to be that they've taken notes from them to hide things. Of course, Andy Burnham says, I had an interview and it doesn't get aired. I believe Toffee TV guys have did an interview and basically, you know, they took it, they didn't air it, they didn't do anything with it, and basically since then they've not even been asked to be on Sky Sports News at all since then. So which is a bit, and it just seems to be they're trying to black out the whole radio silence, as it's called. Anything that is Everton related or anything that we are talking about or what we feel, and it's not been given any kind of national press, the news, Sky Sports News. I don't even talk about, the letter that the DCMS has sent to, the Premier League. Nothing, because they were too busy having a good time talking about Jurgen Klopp, and leaving that, leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. I just, it's just, it just baffles me, and we need to be in a balanced world where fair views and you just hear both sides of the argument, both sides of the story. But it just seems to be Sky Sports or a lot of national based newspapers, journalists, decide to take, if they are talking about the points deduction or they're talking about they take the side of the Premier League, and it's like it seems to be their paymaster, and they don't give any kind of balance or any kind of balanced view what we feel or what the club feels or what Evertonians feel about everything and anything that's going on, and it's just not fair at all. And it's not just us, it's the other 14 clubs. It just seems to be they spend most of their time, national media, and if we're talking about those 6 clubs, they don't care about anywhere else. Newcastle gets a bit of scope a little bit because who owns them, but if you think about it, everybody else, it's like, don't care. You stay where you are. You stay. Don't talk about anything like that. No, you don't deserve don't deserve any kind of headlines, any kind of you know support from that side of it. Anyway, I ramble on as per usual. Um, but yeah, we'll see what happens with the appeal, with the takeover, with everything else. Um, it's just going to be interesting. I just hope we can have a positive, a light at the end of the tunnel. But anyway, yeah. On that note, thank you again for listening as per usual. Thank you for the support as per usual with listening to this podcast. I'll be back next Monday with more ramblings, and hopefully we might come away with a positive result against Man City. So we'll see going forward. So I want to wish everybody a good week. Take care, and I'll speak to you again soon. Bye bye.